またいた。またいんだ。
お前スパイトス番号上は背中にいた欲しいこの人だ。
よっしゃ
海の音が待ちきれない。一元なんだっけ。だる一つはい何か私火力私はこの授業海の音が待ちきれない。ひと夏の物語聞きたくない？
Wait, what was she? She's a pork, right?
私はこの授業ひと夏の物語聞きたくない？時間の無駄です。見切った。はっすいはっやっへっはっ無意味なあがきです。へっはっさやはっせやこの気を逃さん。しれはっ勝負はっや終わりだ。 受けて立つ。やっはっやっさはっはっだやっさ皆さん気を引き締めましょう。降伏だ見切った。はっやっ刀はもう鞘だ。お前番号上は背中は画力欲しいのは一元なん海の音が待ちきれない。海の音が待ちきれない。
Okay, so did my dailies real quick, so now it's just time to do the main story. I really hate how every fucking time I log into the game, it's like, hey, by the way, I know you've already seen this, but we're gonna do this and pretend it's new. Like, yeah, we've had new simulated trial for like 5 hours. Like, every fucking time you've logged in every single week, it's been new. And it's like, okay, but it's not new. I fucking noticed it the last time you fucking told me about it. Stop fucking annoying me every fucking time about these new things that aren't new because I saw them the last time you showed them to me. Like, now, for the event, it's possible that some aspects of this are time-gated, because I do know that there are some times where it's like, oh, we've unlocked the next tier of the event, so we're going to refresh the warning. Like, oh, so technically it is new, like, even though the event itself is not new, but it's like, oh, well, actually, you were locked, but you couldn't do this part of the quest, or you couldn't do this part because it was locked, time-gated, and now we've released that lock. So sure, I kind of get that. I do kind of wish it's like, dude, can you just, fuck off and, stop doing this shit? But to be fair, I think it's better to do it like that, when you've unlocked stuff, because, what happens if you did the quest, right? Like, you did the event, you did as much as you could that day, but there's still a day or two's worth, and so getting a reminder is helpful. And for the stuff that has time locking unlocks, they do a pretty good job of that. Once you've seen it, once you've confirmed that you've seen that day's worth of new shit, they usually don't remind you. But it's just that coupled with all the other bullshit, that coupled with all the other times they're like, hey, there's this new thing. Oh, you mean this new thing that I've looked at every single time, every single day this week? That's not new at all? Because I've fucking seen it every fucking time. I don't need to be reminded every day about a new thing that's not new, If I logged in the day that you've refreshed something, remind me that day, and then fuck off and stop reminding me. I don't need to be reminded every fucking day about content that I clearly don't want to do because I'm not doing it. So I do kind of find that annoying. I mean, most games do this. Not most games. Most gacha games do stuff like this, where it's like, hey, look, there's new stuff. Why? Well, because it gets you going to the menu. Once you're in the menu, you might see, oh, hey, there's this, there's that. Oh, I need to purchase, I need to buy something. So I get it to a degree. But yeah, it's it is still kind of annoying when they just do it every fucking day. It's like, dude, this reset 2 days ago. It was new 2 days ago. It's no longer new. Stop saying new every fucking time I log in. It's not. You know? But like I don't know if you actually have something new until I go over there and I'm like, oh, okay, so it's not anything actually new. You're just reminding me of something you reminded me about multiple times before. It annoys people. Like, I do get that. I need to get those little bits. Let's try avoiding the bits. There's 3. Okay, so I need to get all the little bits. Got it. Huh.
Ah, すごい。
それじゃあ坊や、この工事のかけら。坊や。
でも母さんが言ってたよ。最近はポーセルメックスがよそ者をシャットアウトしてるって。
ほら見て、こんな優雅なお猫。褒めてくれるのは嬉しいけれど、いい？坊や。実は私たち危機開会の店主である浮波バオロンさんのご息女。
バオロンおじさんの名字はリーだもん。浮波じゃないよ。ゆずは姉ちゃんがおじさん。
そっか、ゆずはって養子だったんだ。大丈夫だよメロ。この
ゆずは姉ちゃん、
この色の濃いコーチがどこから来た？
知ってるよ。絶対高く売れるって言うから、僕がそんなことないよって言い返して。ゆずは姉ちゃん、その工事がどうしたの？ダンテのやつ。
ちょっと。はあ、悪いんだリンちゃん。メロ、もう意地を張るのはやめよ。
じゃあ僕を騙してたんだ。
じゃ、情報も手に入ったし。浮波バオロンだって。さっきは笑わないようにするの大変だったんだから。パパに聞か。浮波さん、本当にごめんなさい。全然いいよ。ゆずはが幼女なのは本当だし、むしろ不思議なのはあなたの方。タイムフィールドなんて名家も名家でしょ。英飛地区に来るのは何もあなたじゃなくてよかったはず。
Well, that does beg the question. It's like, okay, she was adopted, but like, then why does she have her own name, right? Obviously, it depends on when she was adopted. If she was adopted at like 8 years old and above, yeah, sure, she'd probably remember her name and want to keep it. I guess even if she was adopted as a baby, if Balrog took her in from like people he knew and he knew them, oh, it's the Ukinami family, they wanted to name her Yuzuha, so he just kept her name. I guess it's not like he has to give her his name. Although that would be only if like he knew the people, he knew her family, which I guess like they kind of would if it was just going to be like a random adoption type thing. Then yeah, presumably, like this doesn't seem like. Seems unlikely he adopted her from an orphanage, but more like from personally taking her from her old family.
とにかくゆずはの身の上なんて気にしなくていいから、そうやって。じゃ行こっか。ダンテの家ってどこ？この上の階、すぐ着くよ。
Hey, how did she get down here? The elevator was broken. We had to sneak down a mountain pass, or sneak through a mountain pass. Oh, I mean, sneaking is kind of a unusual way to say it, considering we beat the shit out of a bunch of guards along the way. So I wouldn't say we really snuck that much if we were just killing everyone that got in our way. But either way, the elevator was shut down, and we went through a secret path that only locals knew. So how the hell did she, who was also stuck, somehow get down here?
もちろん、お姉さんは軍にいたんだ。もっと複雑な銃だって直せると思う。よし、これでいいんじゃないかな。4人ともなかなか肝が据わっているね。
撃たないで。防衛軍を代表してきてるあなたが
交渉ごとに長けているのだな。
That's the weird thing. It's like, oh, because you're the military, I'm surprised that you violated Crystal Limix's command. It's like, yes, as you said, I'm the military. I'm not their company. I can do whatever the fuck we want. You know, we're the military. We are not beholden to fucking corporations. You know? So if a company says this is off limits, who gives a shit? You know? Because, like, first of all, I don't think the company owns this place. Now, it's hard for us to say, because, like, we obviously don't know the intricacies of this world. Like, Crystal Limix is producing a lot of stuff, and so I'm sure they have a lot of land, but it's not like they own all the land of the Wi-Fi Peninsula, or the Wi-Fi Peninsula. So it's like, I mean, and they could, like, for all we know, like, they could, in which case them saying, no, you can't go there, would mean that by coming here we are trespassing. But similarly, we are with the military, so I do think it should give us a little bit of extra clearance, and we wouldn't be beholden to the arbitrary rules of companies. And then second of all, it's just like, I'm sorry, but, like, we're here as part of an investigation. Like, don't, like, cordoning off a section of your city and saying, yeah, we brought in a bunch of investigators. Oh, but by the way, you can't look at these places. Like, then what's the point of bringing in an investigation? It's like, you know, at that point, you might as well just say, yes, we brought in an investigation, and after 5 minutes of looking, they declared everything was fine. Move it along, folks. You know, it's like, anyway, but I mean, I get it, right? The investigation itself is more of a formality for them to look good in the world. It's like, no, we definitely conducted an internal investigation. I mean, sure, we banned them. we banned the investigation team from investigating the entirety of our facility, but clearly, the places that we proactively said you couldn't go wouldn't have anything bad. Like, of course not. We just blocked them for no reason. It was National Barricade Day, so we had to cordon off portions of our city right when the investigation squad appeared. What a crazy coincidence.
彼の叔父とは軍属時代の
ゆずは姉ちゃん、大丈夫だよ。
Oh, I see. Because, like, I was wondering how she got here. Because, like, we had to talk with the locals, and it was Yuzuha and Minato that said, hey, there's a secret mountain pass that'll allow you to pop out down below. So it was like, okay, cool, you know. But then it was like, well, how the fuck did she get here? Like, if the elevator's gone, it's like, well, if she's been coming here every single year, she's been coming here every single year, sure, if the elevator is the main way, but it wouldn't be surprising for her to know some of the back streets.
私は防衛軍の誠意を示すためにいる。私はここでダンテ君の母上が帰ってくるのを待つ。君たちは好きにするといい。
Yeah, I assume she's going to be a playable character because she's too fancy. Like, her uniform is too fancy, is too intricate for her to just be a throwaway character. But, I mean, it's hard to say, right? Because, like, we have the woman in the Scott Outpost who has, like, the robotic arm, and so that's a pretty intricate setup, and she's not playable, so. But I still think Isolde is going to be playable. That's my guess. She looks too fancy.
今日はうちの前が賑やかね。ゆずはちゃんに久しぶりだね。そっか、もう1年経ったのね。こらダンテ、みんな来て。あ、それにまたその鉄砲を持ち出して。
ユエやメロは他におもちゃがあるけど、どうして母さん、僕が大きくなって。
この悪ガキ、今なんて。こら、はあ、来てもらって早々。ダンテ君、将来は防衛軍を。
Yeah, I assume it's because, I mean, I get why the mother is kind of apprehensive about it, because, like, the reason why Isolde is here is because her husband, his father, presumably died as part of it, like, doing his work in the defense force, or maybe is he...
いつもおじさんがおじさんがって言ってるくらいだから、あの子にとってはうちの旦那よりおじさんの方がよっぽどすごいみたい。会ったこともないのにね。
Oh, I see. So I think it's probably her. The father is the one who was in the defense force who actually did some really good shit, and the uncle did some cooler things, but not as impactful. So I think it's the father who's the real hero, but the uncle who was not. But she's apprehensive because her husband, his father, presumably died in the line of duty. I think that's what she said. I think that's what she said, right? She said that she's here to pay. Oh wait, never mind. He said his uncle. Oh, it was the uncle who was the comrade. Okay, so it's not the father; it's the uncle. It's interesting though, because she's like asking her for uncle stories. Is the uncle alive? He's always asking me to tell him stories about his uncle. Okay, so the uncle's probably dead. He used to work in the defense force. Presumably died in line of duty. So he comes here to comfort his family. You know, because maybe she was his commanding officer. Well, she said comrade, so she could have been working side by side, or she could have been the commander. Hard to say. Both could be considered comrades. It really is, yeah, how like the commander integrates with their troop. But she could have also been working with her directly. Either way. Okay, so yeah, she's probably obviously her uncle, her brother-in-law or brother did all these things, and she doesn't want her son to follow in his footsteps and die. I see. So he died. He died in the Hollow Zero catastrophe. I mean, it's hard to say because, like, they definitely more of them died than was necessary. 100%, right? They sent their forces into Hollow Zero, and they got absolutely decimated. It killed lots of people. Now, you know, did those people all need to die? Probably not. I don't think they thought they understood the danger of it. So it's very well possible they could have just stayed at the outskirts of Hollow Zero and just, you know, killed anything that tried to make its way through, make its way out. And it could have been like doing that wouldn't have changed anything, right? And it's hard to say that, right? It could be that because they killed all the ethereals they did by sending such a huge task force in, it could have been that the death of all those ethereals was what led the Hollow Zero to stop growing. Because supposedly it did grow a lot as part of that catastrophe. So it's like, was it them fighting valiantly that stopped Hollow Zero from growing even bigger? If they had taken more of a back seat and more of a defensive role, would it have, you know, could it have grown bigger, and could it have been a worse disaster? You know, we can't know because it's such a weird situation. And it seems like there's never been a situation like that since. So, yeah, from their perspective, it's like, I mean, it wasn't meaningless because it did stop, right? And they did fight. But it's just like, it's hard to tell in the absence of knowledge what their fighting actually meant, right? Did they actually stop the Hollow Zero catastrophe early because of their fighting? Or did the Hollow Zero just stop growing because it was only set to grow for a certain amount of distance, right? Was it only going to grow to twice its size and then going to stop regardless of the fighting? Or did it only stop where it was because of the fighting, right? We can't prove that shit. So after the fact, all we can see is like a bunch of dead people. Yeah, I mean, as they said, you know, I mean, it did grow and they did save people. So it's like, yeah, there were people who might have been killed in the Hollow that were not killed in the Hollow because of their valiant efforts. So that in and of itself is worth it. But yeah, it's just so hard to tell because, like, even to this day, they don't really know why it happened. They want to blame the main character's teacher as the cause, but they don't really know how it happened or why. But they're just going to blame her anyway. Now, my guess has always been is that she was conducting some sort of experiment in Hollow Zero, and one of her, either her lab assistant or one of her colleagues, who I believe right now is probably like the head of the Exaltus. So basically back then, he probably was like, hey, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to fuck up this experiment. I'm going to do something to cause a problem so that I can, like, push my Exaltist ideology. And it happened. Hollow Zero catastrophe happened. The old capital fell. And then they use the experimental data from that as a framework to set up future Exaltist stuff. So I don't know if the Exaltus exist at that point, or if it was just the future head of the Exaltus interfered with the experiment and caused the problem. But because it was officially under our teacher's name, everyone thinks, oh, it was her fault. She did something wrong, which caused all the problems. Where it's like, nah, I bet it was the Exaltus. I bet he was a research assistant, or maybe another scientist working at the Institute who fucked things over, caused problems, and then got away, and then formed the Exaltists, you know, to then push his, like, human evolution through ethereal contamination ideology. I think that's what happened.
悲しみに暮れる遺族にしかるべき保証がすまない。君たちは本来昔の戦友を忘れないで。And I said that multiple times before. I think the second the teacher was blamed, I'm like, you know what? Especially considering, like, what the Exaltists are trying to do, and how they're trying to like turn humanity into ethereals. I think they're trying to evolve humanity in a way that, like, they will essentially have the power of ethereals but still retain their human consciousness. So it might be like giving up their humanity, so they'll no longer inhabit human bodies, but it will be like, yes, we will turn ourselves into ethereals with their strong bodies and ethereal resistance, but are able to go outside of hollows, have a ton of power, and still have the intelligence we had as a human, right? I think that's their goal. And so it's hard to say what the Exaltist was trying to do with that Hollow Zero experiment. If he was trying to prove something, or if he was that the first sacrifice core he was trying to make, and it went sideways and caused all of, yeah. We don't know that. Obviously, we're not going to know that for a while. Like, we're only kind of just like dipping our toes into the Exaltus shit. You know, we've seen some interesting shit. You know, like, we fought the Exaltus as part of the previous chapter. It was a little weird. Like, we fought a guy who supposedly seemed to be pretty high up on the Exaltus. Like, the guy who we fought, who became the weekly boss. It seems like he's pretty high up there. It seems like he's the leader. I don't think he's like the leader because it felt like they were, I don't know, talking. It felt like he mentioned that there was like a supreme leader still, but he might be pretty up there. But it was super weird though, because it's like, it seems like the thing that they were doing in the Wi-Fi Peninsula Hollow It seemed like they used the shit that happened to like get the memories and essentially extract Yishuan's sister. So it seems like they extracted the corrupted version of the corrupted body of Yishuan's sister, her older sister, who like tried to save everybody and all that shit. Because I'm pretty sure that's who it was. Like I'm pretty sure her body looked enough like Yishuan. I'm like, oh okay, I bet that's her. But it's super weird because she died in Hollow Zero. So how did doing all the shit they did in a separate Hollow somehow allow them to extract the memories and stuff of Yishuan's sister? Because supposedly they all were sent to Hollow Zero to do this shit. I don't think they were sent to the Wi-Fi Peninsula one. Although maybe they were. Maybe that's where it was, because they did say they sent people and saved people in the Wi-Fi Peninsula. But I assumed that they saved people in the Hollow Zero of the old capital, and then because the old capital fell, they had to relocate people, and those people who were relocated were moved to the Wi-Fi Peninsula. So I don't think they were fighting in the Hollow outside of that location. They were fighting at a different location, and the people who live there now were relocated from the old capital. That was my thought, because they kept saying that. So it's kind of weird. Although I do believe they did say that the Hollow Zero was the first Hollow, and it spawned all the little child Hollows. So it could be that there is a connection between them regardless. And so they were able to use that connection. They were able to use that connection to do something in one Hollow to influence the main one, because the main one is under lockdown. So maybe that. Hard to say. Obviously, we haven't known. Like the chapter ended with Yishuan's corrupted Yishuan's sister popping out of this big like red Hollow that was in their base. So some sort of portal thing. So, and like the person we defeated didn't actually die. So it's hard to say. You know, maybe the supreme leader of the Exaltist like became one with Hollow Zero. Like maybe that's what his experiment was, to integrate his consciousness into it. And that's what, or maybe that's what that red orb is. It's like, it's a representation of himself. Or, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, we obviously don't know much about him. We only interacted with him a few times. The fact that we killed him, thought we killed him, but then he pops up perfectly fine. It could be that dude is like an offshoot of the Supreme Leader. Like, maybe the Supreme Leader integrated with Hollow Zero and was able to create copies of himself, or, you know, corrupt a bunch of, basically, yeah, create copies of create ether copies that he then, you know, distributed. And so maybe we killed one of those copies, but, you know, we didn't kill the hive mind. So they just sent another clone to continue the experiment and pop out Yishuan's sister. So, I mean, the story has definitely gotten more interesting. Like, I think it was always pretty slow and a little dull, because there's just like, it was like, you know, like the cunning hares aspect was like, okay, they stole something, we're gonna get it back. Yeah, sure. People went crazy. Then it was like chapter 2 was like, or like chapter 1 was the company was gonna like kill a bunch of civilians by just having their construction project just go straight through their village, because they tried to convince the world that they were no longer alive because the Hollow had taken them. So it's fine for them to just bulldoze straight through it. And then we rescued them and proved them wrong. It's like, you know, it's a bunch of politics that no one really gives a shit about. And it definitely didn't help that, like, the main story was done through televisions at that point, which really just ruins the momentum of the story, because it just takes so long to get through. Like, any build-up they have is just kind of, like, slowly deflated as you go through the story. And then, like, chapter 2, similar thing, where it's like, yeah, you're in the televisions, just like which is kind of boring. And then it was just mostly about, like, Belobog. You know, learning more about Kaleda and what her father did. But it was like, his like, her father was trying to, like, protect her, and, like, he found some sort of, like, problem in the Hollow, which he sacrificed himself to hide, or to seal away. And so we found it later. And then, like, Bringer is kind of when it started getting more interesting, because it was like, oh, Bringer and the sacrifice cores, and the Exaltists started popping up, and we're like, oh, cool, there's like some overarching conspiracy theory. But up until that point, it was kind of like, like boring. Like we went to the Outer Ring and it was like, oh, well, one of the biker gangs is led by an asshole who's trying to take over everything. And he is a first in command who's also a super asshole who's trying to manipulate everyone into doing his shit. And we just have to beat them in a motorcycle race or beat them in a fight. And it's like, okay, like, but who cares, right? Like, does it really matter one way or the other? Like, sure, you know, we're friends with the people on one side and we need them to find the head of the company from chapter 1 so that we can get him to be a witness against the people who are trying to manipulate him. But like, it's like, it's not super important. So like, it was only when like Bringer turned and used like the sacrifice, I think he injected himself with something, because that's where it was like, oh shit, like now we know the stakes. Now we know what the people manipulating everyone in the earlier chapters were trying to do. They're trying to, you know, corrupt humanity, and they're all over the place. So they rose the stakes a bit, and then we finally learned about like what the main character's goal is to find their teacher, if they can, and prove her and vindicate her, basically. Say, no, she wasn't the cause of the Hollow Zero accident. It wasn't her. That's what they're trying to do. But like, we only learned that like in the chapter right before the epilogue. You know, and it was like the last little bit of that chapter. It was like, oh yeah, that's what we're doing. It's like, so, you know, it took them like 6 to 8 months for us to finally learn what our main characters are trying to do in this world. You know, like what we're going for. Like besides just being a proxy, like being a proxy is just how we make money and survive. But now we actually know what's going on. And sure, like, you know, you can't just like you couldn't have told us that earlier because we had no clue, you know, what it meant for her teacher to do all this shit. So sure, to a degree, but it was a really slow build and not super impactful. So it was like, so I get it. I get why they did it, but it still doesn't make it more interesting. And then yeah, all the television storyline shit was just really dragged down the story. It was just like any hype that the story could have got, you just spent so much time in the television to actually like progress the story that it just like, you just waste time. It was like, hey, we have this line of dialogue, you can't skip it. So once you've read it, you can't just press X to continue. No, we're gonna give you a few seconds. We're gonna assume that you read like a fucking toddler, and you need this time to read every fucking sentence. And so people are just kind of stuck there waiting after they've read the sentence, waiting for the next one to appear, so that they can just continue with the fucking story. It just, yeah, sucks the momentum right out of you.
そうだったの。
ありがとうおばさん。やっぱり浜辺まで。
ああ。
さっきのでちょっと気持ちが変わったかも。イゾルデさんは元軍人。それもいろいろ経験してるようなのだわ。
Wait, what? Why are you surprised by that? Like, oh, actually, no, it's Alice saying this. Alice is part of the inspection team. It's like when we were introduced to her, she said she was a representative of the military. So it's like, yes, it's not surprising for a representative of the military to have been, to be or have been a soldier. So, but Alice wasn't there at the time, and she's supposedly working for the Corsa Lumex company, so it would be understandable she wasn't aware of the identities of everyone here. That's kind of weird. We have to interact with Altana. Or Itana? Is it all? I or all? Maybe Itana. We have to interact with Itana, but it's only asking. The only thing we're asking is questions for Isolde. So how do you just make Isolde the person we communicate with? I wish it was more clear. Like, you can't tell when you're running or not. You have to tell purely by animation. Like, pressing X down below doesn't change anything. In Honkai Star Rail, it's R1 for one. When you to run, pressing R1 it runs, but the little like run button will then light up when you're running, so you know when you're running. Here, it's like you have to know, oh, what's the running and walking animation for every fucking character you could possibly be, so you'll know when you're running and when you're not. Or you press press X again to see, oh, okay, that's walking, this is running, cool. You know, so you know. It's like very poorly designed. Like Genshin, when you're running, you can tell you're running because your stamina is draining. Honkai Star Rail doesn't have stamina, so it's just like they highlight a button. This could easily highlight the button, put some sort of like ring around it. There's a ring around that circle of the X button to let you know, hey, by the way, you're running. So many ways they could do it correctly, and there's like, yeah, let's just like have literally no indicator that you're running, besides you having to tell if you're running by the animation of your character. Oh, and by the way, every character runs differently. You know, every character is different. So it's like, great, awesome, thanks.
今日はもともとダンテが拾った工事について。
マナと多分ぜ
And consider there is like no stamina like Genshin, there's no like exploration. The exploration of this game is far more like Honkai Star Rail. Like, why don't you just do the same thing Honkai Star Rail does then? Like, especially because R1 no longer does anything. You should just redesign. You should just remap R1 to your run now.
それでも僕防衛軍にすごいねダンテ
I mean, I assume that her uncle must be her mother's brother. The mother's a little too worried if it's just like a brother-in-law. So I would assume the mother like knew the uncle very well, which I would assume that they're brother and sister. Because it'd be weird. I mean, I understand the general concern of a mother when your child is idolizing a soldier. You're like, oh shit! If they become a soldier, then they could die too in the line of fire. But usually you won't take it as personally as this unless you actually knew the person who died. And who knows? Like maybe she grew up with her husband, and it was her husband's brother. So maybe she knew the three of them, or the two of them, from an early age. So you know, she treated her brother-in-law like her brother because they had known each other since they were children. Yeah, that could have happened too. And that's why it hits her harder.
ああ、イゾルデさんもここにいるってことは。ああ、さっきオーセルメックスの人間から私に会いたいと連絡が。ダンテ君、母上がと。うん、わかったよ。
この工事のかけら。
ああ、これ？ないかな。長いことあそこで待ってたら。私の見間違いでなければ、これを。なるほど。君たちが修道院に来た理由がなんとなくわかった。
疑問があるとしたら、
I mean, it's not even just like, it's like how, you know, like, is Porcelain, does Porcelain float in water? Because like, it looks like it was a metal case being coated in porcelain ore. So it's like I would assume the ore itself doesn't float. So it's like, I encased this metal case with rocks, and then you found it floating in the sea? Like, what? But, you know, we don't know this ore. It could actually float in water for all we know. It could be incredibly porous.
ただ、フォローがあれだけ大きいから、どこから近くにあるフォローの出口を。
実は計算で割り出す方法がある。そうだ、ダンテ君。え？もう
もしかしたら
Oh, I see. So you put the coin in there, and then it just like smacks it really hard. It is a little weird though, because it looks like the coin is actually bigger than the gun barrel. Like the ridge of the coin seems like it's higher than that part of the gun. It would need to be a little lower, or the gray piece would need to be a little raised. Could be a. Actually, wait. Oh no. Yeah, I can move it. Yeah. Look, it proves it. Look, the coin is bigger than that. So it would smack into that and immediately stop. There's no way for it to, because like if you look at the bottom of the coin clearly lines up with the base of the barrel. So you can even see that the coin doesn't perfectly fit. The top of the coin is missing, even though they put ridges on the inside. But that bump above the dark gray part doesn't go all the way back to here. There would need to be a ridge up. That ridge right there would need to go all the way to where the gun gets taller. So this gun is completely useless. This gun would not work in its current design. A little lazy. But whatever, right? Who cares, right? Like, it was an offshoot thing. They probably designed it from the front and then just forgot to be like, oh shit, yeah, we need to make this ridge actually go deeper into the gun, because right now the coin itself is too big for it to work. And actually, you probably want to also have that ridge go further back, because like right now, if you smack it, like there's a chance it'll go up. And if it goes up at all, like even if the ridge was designed correctly, there would still be like a centimeter or two of it needing to go forward before it's completely encapsulated by the barrel. So if it goes up at all, it would smack the top and not go in. So depends on how the trigger mechanism works and how it distributes force. If it is purely a force that's only in the X direction or in the X and down, then that would be fine. But even still, the barrel is not designed to actually have that gun work. Silly designer.
よくわかんなかったけど、私
Wait, what? It's the same density? A toy Denny. So like it's a plastic Denny, probably, right? It's probably not metal. So you're saying this plastic coin has the same density as Obscura, which is supposed to be this refined Lumite ore? Like what? Why would it have the same density as plastic? It's supposed to be able to... Actually, no. I guess it's supposed to allow ether to come through. So I can imagine it being porous, and that's how it allows ether to come through in a slow manner. But porous to the degree that its density is the same as a plastic coin? Are you kidding me? Plus, the shard they showed us was this ore wrapped around a box. It was ore encased around a box, and one would assume the box would be metal. I guess the box also could be plastic for all we know. Seems kind of weird that they'd be like, yes, we're going to create this incredibly expensive material that's used for lab equipment and wrap it around a plastic box.
なんでもねえ。
はい、絶対嘘。
マジでなんでも。
浮波さん、おお。ほら、だって変でしょ？リー・ユズハ。自分の子供になる以上、そんなセンスのない名前は許せない。
Oh, I see.
ユズハがどうやってパパのところに来たか。
Okay, so it's not that this was her parents' last name. It's just completely random.
浮波。ユズハは海からどんぶら流れてきて、就労員に
Oh, I see.
拾われたんだ。
I guess that's fine then. Okay, so he just randomly found her then. Very much like Momotaro. Okay, so he didn't know her at all. I just assumed he knew her family he knew her parents, and her parents were named Ukinami, and just said, you know what, we're just gonna leave you with her name, with their names, and to honor their memory. But it's like, nope, just found a random baby.
そうだったの。違うよ。知ってた？実はラマ家来たちに大事にされて毎日幸せに暮らしてたけど、それでつい勢いでその人についてっちゃったんだよね。それあのおとぎ話。
まあみたい。
もう聞いたことあるからってちゃちゃ入れ。でも本当に不思議だよね。潮の流れっていろんな。
So I guess the baby also has the same density as a plastic. It kind of reminds me of Monty Python, the Holy Grail, a witch. So if she weighs the same as a duck, then she's made of wood, and therefore a witch. It's like, yes, it's all these things that apparently are that can float in water. You know, Holy Denny's, a slab of rock encased around a metal box. A baby, all these things have the same density and float on the water. I guess they're all witches.
イゾルデさん、お疲れさん。礼には及ばない。諸君。それ。よし、オブスキュラが流れ。まだ。ゆずは姉ちゃん。
Oh, wait a minute. Let's take... Oh, shit. I didn't realize it would, of course, immediately focus on this guy. Okay, so I've been walking for a bit. I'm gonna take a small break so I can shower. I've been sweating up a storm. I've been walking for 54 minutes, which is a decent chunk of time. I think I will beat this story, though. So I'll come back and continue this, and then after that, I'll play Borderlands 1. I was thinking, should I stop now, do more of this tomorrow? But we have the event tomorrow as well, so, to get my swimsuit. So I think I'll do that tomorrow, and I'll just wrap up however much of the story. I assume the story's going to be done. I assume this is the last little bit of it. I also I don't know how long it's going to be, so I don't want to like start walking and then be stuck. Anyway, so I'll be right back. And swap. Yeah. I will be right back, and we can just chill and watch now.
Okay, let's do this.
見て、あそこに排水管があるよ。道は間違ってないみたい。山の上へ行くほど配管が
すまない。フェアリーは配管の大まかな深度を計算できるけれど、この辺はフォローのデータが限られていて、リン、たくさん宮妻を浄化してきたけれど。
ふふん、見くびらないでよね。私は全然元気だから。ここは工事を製造している工業港からはかなり距離があるし、
情報によると数年前に閉鎖された材料の研究所があったらしい。最先端の設備が整っていたから、当時は研究。
これは勘っすけど、その研究所閉鎖したふりして違法に工事製品を作る工場になってんじゃ。
それいかにもじゃあみんな行こっか。
高エーテル活性の個体に注意してください。
親子か。ずいぶん歩いたからな。
スピッツに触んないで。天野くん、なんかウキウキしてない？手加減しなく。
リン、この辺りなら術法で手がかりが見つかると思う。
タイヤの跡がここまで続いてる。他にもなんか跡がないか、この辺を調べてみよう。
Oh, there. How's it going?
気をつけて、またエーテリアスだよ。 セリアスよりあっちのゲートを開けられるかどうかだよね。逆立ちのように。
Nope, not interested.
みんな行こう。またタイヤの跡だ。この方向で合ってたみたい。急ぎましょう。今日は家庭教師が来るのだわ。剣術なら誰にも負けないのだわ。急ぎましょう。今日は家庭教師が来るのだわ。剣術なら誰にも負けないのだわ。急ぎましょう。今日は家庭教師が来るのだわ。 剣術なら誰にも負けないのだわ。急ぎましょう。今日は家庭教師が来るのだわ。剣術なら誰にも負けないのだわ。急ぎましょう。今日は家庭教師が来るのだわ。剣術なら誰にも負けん。この辺り宮妻の濃度が高いのだわ。怪物も増えてきてる。アリス、ユズハを頼って。
連中こんなとこでブツを運んでたのかよ。むちゃくちゃしてんな。まあ俺らも人のことは言えねえか。
変なマルフォマノスさんが自分にツッコミを入れてるのだわ。そしてお嬢様がそれにツッコミを入れると。じゃあ私もユズハに。やっぱやめとこう。前方に行き止まりを。
また出てきやがったな怪物。
さっさと片付けて手がかり探すよ。チャンス。これが水ありなのだわ。あの宮妻のレコード道があるかも。一点集中。勝負。夕立のように。嫌な予感。逃がさないのだわ。宮妻の後ろを調べてみよう。
I mean, as I said, I'm not interested.
そんなここで
みんな安心してくれ。ちゃんと越えられるルートが見つかるはずだ。
というわけで今日賛成夜のほお嬢様。いやー、びっくりしたのだわ。こっちが先にびっくりしたのだ。実はさっきの箱にあったラベル、いつ頃見たか。本当に最近だと。ごめんなさい、こんなこと。やっと長期兵に戻ってこられたのだわ。もう日が暮れているなんて。みんなお疲れ。あなたもお疲れ様。今日はもうやることもない。分かった。
失礼します。お邪魔してすみません。
ええ、そう。
私ポーセルメックスにて皆様のお世話係を担当。
荷物
申し訳ありませんが、お荷物に記載がなく、またサイズが大きいため、ひとまず私ども、もしよろしければこれから確認していただいても。わざわざ。
そう。荷物の保管場所までは
遠くてすみません。もうすぐ。
Yeah, obviously, like we shouldn't have let her go. This is obviously a trap.
かなり大きな荷物でしたので、私どもも気が気
So my assumption is that it was going to be a box that she herself was going to be the package.
これは一体。
まさか予想が。私たちが。
Oh, I honestly thought she was completely in the. I thought she got completely fooled, and all the rest of us, caught him.
リン。
バンさん、まだと。少し進展があったようなのだわ。ほら、おとなしく入っちまえってかすかに聞こえたから、もう少し待っておいた方がいいかも。パンさんって刑事ドラマとか見てた？白状すれば多めに見てやる。黙るとひどいぞ。アリス、大丈夫？ご心配なくなのだわ。アドリブはに。
なあ。
どういう意味？もしかしてマナトが言ってるのって。あら？あなたたちも。
今日は立て続けにタイムフィールドのお嬢様やらイゾルデさんやらに会ったもんだからどうする？
何か企んでるっていうプロ棋士に賛成かな。向こうが尾行だけにしてるのも 相手の狙いが分かれば多分。なんで？さっき思い出したのだけれど、昨夜ユズハの推測は合ってたね。箱を見ただけのアリスを口封じなんて。あ、見て、ハンさんとコマの兄弟子さん。
おう、ハグ。ちょっと離れて話そう。よし、この辺でいいか。
エーテル爆薬。
ああ、断熱材に偽装して運んでたんだと。ただあんまり奴はアリスちゃんの叫び声を聞き、箱も壊れたもんだから。で
も私は箱の中身なんて全く。
お前さんたちが起点を聞かせてくれた。
その人たち、
それが当人も知らんそうだ。ただもう爆薬の搬入は2週間くらい続いてるそうだな。
ふん、その悪いことしてると思ってたけど、違法なものの製造で私腹を肥やしてるとか。
Are they trying to destroy the
単純な
hollow
話じゃなさそう。
with explosives? I mean, I don't know if that's possible. But then, like, why would you need that many explosives?
ああ、俺もそう思うよ。
じゃあ悪いよ。
わかった。悪い知らせは明日の夜でもう爆薬。
つまりタイムリミットは明日ということか。
必ず阻止しなければ
Well,
いけない。
no, I mean, tomorrow's the day they deliver the last of the explosives, but they'll still need, like,
こ
prep
のよう
time.
な悪事を黙って
Because,
見
like,
てる
once you
わ
have
け
the
にはいかない
explosives,
から
then you have to set them up and get them primed to detonate. So, like, that's going to be pretty involved, especially if you've been transporting 2 weeks worth of explosives. Like, I mean, maybe they've been planting them. Like, because you should be just delivering them, and then only when you're ready to explode them will you prime them for detonation. So, like, presumably they haven't been planting them yet because they would need to activate them, or at least have them ready for activation. So I would still say it would be a few days after delivery, before they would be ready to actually use them.
ビビリで優柔不断、しかも頑固。
ユズハが言いてえのはだな。
マナと次バイトで。みんな結論が。
ああ、それがいい。明日は俺とお弟子くんが適当感でバックアップに回る。お弟子ちゃん、今すぐお師さんに電話して指示を仰いでくれ。今日はもう遅いし、明日も早いんだ。みんな。
じゃあリン、師匠に電話してもらっていいかい？みんなの部屋は僕と兄弟子でよ。
I assume each one is aware of it. One of the stories that the child was saying basically they described Yishuan. It was white hair with like gold feathers and shit like that. It's presumably they saw her using her powers. Where are we going? Why am I going to the HDD to contact her? Like, don't we have a phone?
なるほど。いきさつは分かっ。ポーセルメックスは総出で安全調査の対応に追われてるが、敵は計画。
今のところ向こうの思い通りにいってないってこと？
だろうな。ともかく明日は用事を片付け次第すぐここを出る。夜には適当感に戻れるだろう。依然として文学さ。
やったね。
こんな時くらい師匠
と
些細なことだ。ここ 数日、侵食事件が解決して間もないある日、フォローの一部データスタンドに、だが一瞬のことだったせいで、当局は宮妻の像、まあそんなところだ。
はい。師匠
I see. So they interfered with the data piles to have them like they briefly had them go down, and now they're just like having it broadcast like all of the data. You know, kind of like how on like cameras they're like, oh, we're gonna take this like 1 hour of footage where like nothing happens, and we're just gonna put that on a loop for the rest of the time. I think that's probably what happened.
また
おや、リン。
お兄ちゃん、
ちょうど考えているところだ。だって師匠と姉弟子の部屋はさすがに使えないだろ。
でもひとまず浮波さんと相談して。じゃあ女の子組は私の部屋においでよ。 HD
いいんじゃないか。
And Wise can have outside. He can have his sleep. He can put up a tent outside from
本当に3人ま
Manata.
とめて寝るのか。普通に攻めだろ。
マナとの合体で考えないでよ。言われてみればそうなのだわ。学校、私の通う学校は貴族の子供ばかりで、学校側からしたら、じゃあちょうどいいね。今日は階段わかりやすい。あれ、どうしたの？ベルトがちょっと重いから外そうと思ったのだけれど、見てあげるから動かないで。キャラもののヘアピンを改造したんだ。うわー、マジカルボンプ。どうしたの？急に。何でもないのだ。ごまかしちゃダメだよ。実は子供の頃、どうしてなくしちゃ。アリスの顔。実は私が英地区に来るのは初めてのフォローに浮かれて、そのヘアピンをつけて私たち家族は帰りの車に乗り込んでいたけれど。パパ、セーラープー。
もちろんだ、アリス。ちょうどパパもな、研究所の先生たちに。
Oh, is that why she died? Is that why he died? That's why. Yeah, so that's why he's dead. He went back looking for the clip. Aggroed someone who was doing illegal things in the Hollow and was killed. And so now she blames herself for his death.
まさか。父は帰りの高速道路で事故を起こしたと聞かされ、車が激しく燃えたからといって祖父、治安局が事故車を調べたけれど、それらしいものはかけらも。ほんとバカ、そんなの。
おい、ユズハ。
平気なのだわ。浮波さんが。そうそう、浮波さんのヘアピンは子供。なんかちょっと濁した？
感だな。
あ、リンと駒野さんもそう思ったの？
Yeah, I mean, my bet is that did she? No, I guess she would have remembered if she. Because my thought was that maybe she gave it to her, or maybe Yuzuha saw it fall and then took it. Maybe I don't know. But then she'd have to be in the hollow as well. So maybe there's someone, or maybe it was something that like drifted out of the pipe, and she got it on the ocean like all the other shit.
だって事実だもん。ところでありそう嬢様、私たちも特に駒野さんなんて聞くたびに笑っちゃいそうになるから、もうゆずはお腹痛いよ。いいでしょ。ではこれからは。
お、みんな。
リン、みんなと。
I don't know, actually. Maybe, I mean, I could finish this now, but this is also a good stopping point. So I might just stop here for now, and then I thought I'd be able to finish it. I didn't realize how long. I guess maybe I wasted some time. Hard to say, but yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and put a pin in this for now. I assume that this is gonna be the last quest. And then I can, so I'll finish this tomorrow, and then maybe start on this. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and call it. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.